The bit of the week is pronouncing everything with a W instead of an R.
Okay. Well,
Because
welcome to Waiting for With You.
Exactly that. Welcome to... I'm going to do it. Hey, welcome to Waiting for With You, a show about the majestic indie developer lifestyle. Join your scintillating hosts, Dave and Daniel, and let's hear about a tiny slice of their thrilling lives. Join us while waiting for Wii U.
That did sound very silly, and obviously I'll caveat with I wouldn't want to make fun of somebody who can't pronounce their R's otherwise, but I would also hasten that with it didn't stop Jonathan Wass in the UK. He's done very well for himself.
No, not at all. Like, I just noticed this week somehow that some Germans, they can pronounce all kinds of R. They can pronounce a erotic R. They can pronounce an R that's like more soft. But as soon as they switch to English, and they will have perfect English, but they will tell you all about the Rockefeller Center.
Gotcha.
And that is just so amusing to me. Like I'm beginning to like sometimes slip into it. That's just my bit of the week.
Brilliant. Well, we've covered our intro, so I feel at ease, Daniel. The intro always helps put me into show mode as it is.
Fantastic. How's it going?
Pretty well, yeah. Yeah, pretty well, thank you. It's been an interesting, I want to say last week. It feels like longer somehow. Our first show note that we put ahead of recording the show, you asked me how's Focus going, which is my NDI switcher app. It's in the store. It's there. And in fact, actually,
Fantastic.
by the time this goes out, by the time this goes out, I will have quote unquote launched it. So, I haven't really pushed it on the socials or anywhere really. I made a post on Instagram that sort of vaguely mentioned the App Store submission. I actually had to do a video for Apple. So as I may have mentioned on the show before, actually, I sort of predicted I might need to record a video that shows the app in use, because that I've experienced that before with my video mixer app. That happened. I had to cut a video showing connecting NDI feeds to the app with a couple of other devices. Spoiler, GoVJ sends NDI output, so that was easy for me. And I hooked it up to the TV that YouTube viewers will be able to see behind me on the wall, and recorded the output. And I put that on Instagram after the fact as well. So a few people have downloaded it from there, but I'm going to push it properly in a day or two's time when I've got more time to do so. And that'll be the launch. And so far I think I've had probably about 10 people download it out of the blue. Nobody's bought it yet.
Fantastic.
But yeah.
All right. Do you get any usage statistics? Like, are the 10 people who downloaded it actually using it, or are they just like noodling around?
I need to have more of a look.
That would be interesting to me. Are they like downloading it because they're like, oh, what is this? Or are they downloading it because they think, oh, this is exactly what I need?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm just logging into a handy analytics service, actually.
Is it TelemetryDeck?
It is TelemetryDeck. Give me 1 second.
I gotta register that domain.
Turn them all into W's. Come here, where's my sign in? 1 second. Excuse me, I'm halfway through switching password managers to Proton, and not everything is in Proton. But anyway, I'm logging in. I'm checking the NDI switcher. I've had 53 users. It's gone up a fair bit. Are they doing much in the app? Good question. This is actually quite an a good first look through things, and I can see here, like, 1 second. TelemetryDeck session started, and I also have a new session began. They're up in the 226 sessions. Yeah, this is going to take me more time to explore than we've got time for on the show, Daniel. But yeah,
around 50-ish users and over 200 sessions, which means that the average user has like launched the app multiple times.
Yeah,
which is a good sign.
Exactly, it is a good sign. But I think some of that may be distorted by my test flight phase, and because I don't have different projects for different apps set up for test flight versus production, so
fair enough.
That might be that. But in any case,
the SDK should discover whether it's like a test flight build or a App Store build. So there might be a signal property automatically added to all the signals.
Nice. Well, I'll give that another look when we're not in the middle of trying to record the show. But
fair.
Yeah. Anyway, I think what you're probably detecting is part of me doesn't really care. There's a bit of me that's quite happy to have had released the app and put it out there. It will be another app in Lightbeam Apps portfolio, which is great. I created it because I wanted to have this thing exist. But I'm also pretty aware that it's quite a specific niche. You have to really know what you're looking for to find it, to want it, for it to have any utility to you. And in a lot of ways, I think that does segue into kind of where my head's at the moment, actually, with all of the Lightbeam apps and things I'm trying to put together as an indie developer. So I don't feel bad if this one flops, to be honest with you. I don't have any big expectations riding on it, but
but that's a good mindset. I feel like just like throw stuff out there with like high quality stuff, but like don't get married to any individual like tiny little cute app.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah, that is released. It is in the store. It's not had the push that it needs, and I'll do that this weekend. However, I have also created. I've created another app in the last couple of weeks.
Do tell.
Okay, so this one may have a new one. Yeah, brand new one. This is not. Yeah. Not just an update. This is like yet another app. Yeah. I didn't tell you about this, did I? I think this is news. Yes. Okay. So my eldest son, he is 18 now. He is a 3D modeler, maker. He has his own YouTube channel and everything, and he is really into Transformers. And he is making a big Transformer. It's if you know about Transformers, it's a guy with a cassette tape in the player in the middle of him called Soundwave.
That is the coolest. Didn't he make a model of him of that Transformer already?
Not of him, but he
saw some video, but I might be mistaken.
He
probably just saw a there's a meme or something.
Yeah, he made a transforming cassette last year.
Oh, right.
So that might have been what you saw. Yeah. So the new design that he's building, it has like a Walkman style cassette player embedded in the middle, so it will actually play cassettes. And he's routed speakers as well to the feet, and it probably stands about, I want to say, about 50-60 centimeters high in total. It's a pretty big build.
Oh, it's an actual physical model. I thought it was 3D printed Blender or something.
Well, bits of it start off there, but then it's gone to FreeCAD, and it's actually he's been printing it for the last couple of weeks and sanding it and doing all of the process. Yeah. I'm getting to the bit about the app, don't worry. Soundwave, in the show, he has a display over the top of the cassette player bit, and sometimes it shows different images, like when he has this little drone in some shows that comes back to him and then plays back video on in the middle of his chest of what it's seen. And we figured that this old little, I want to say old, it is old now. I can pick it up and show it on the camera actually. iPod Touch, that's the second to last generation.
Oh, I have the very same one.
Yeah, they were great test devices.
Yeah, exactly. That was my test device.
Yeah.
I think it's still like floating around here somewhere. I don't know.
It was the device that my lad had before he got a phone. So when he was in that sort of like, I guess in his tweens, as it were. And that's actually a real W in the word there, Daniel. So iPod Touch slots in the middle of this transformer design, and he wants it to play a video so that it can look like it did in the show. And of course, he wants it to play a video on loop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, I don't quite have an app for doing that. My VJ app plays videos on loop, but it doesn't play them full screen on the device itself. It plays them full screen on the video out. So what I did is I created a very, very quick UI kit based, because it's iOS 12 on that device, application for loading a video and then playing it on loop full screen. So that's what it does. It's literally load a video in or load several videos in. You can actually page between them and swipe between them, but they autoplay as you do so. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
Like small, self-contained. I like.
So that's in review at the moment, and it's tiny, right? I mean, I've barely made a landing page for this app. The landing page is just the app's icon and a list of things like it's easy to use, your videos loop forever, good for presentations, merchandise stands, art installations, that sort of thing.
I can totally see it like, or even with an iPad or something. Just put an iPad somewhere, let the video loop. Like, this is cool for expo stand. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, I've tagged it with it supports iOS 12 onwards. And so it's good if you've got an old device you want to put to use as well. Yeah. So fingers crossed, I may have a 2-app release weekend if it goes through review over the next day. Yeah. So, not one, but two.
Two apps in 1 week. You're a machine.
I'd love to say that. I'd love to say like, oh, I'm so good, I can just keep cranking them out. It's like, it is a tiny little app.
I can do this. I can do this all day.
I know this. It's a Mac OS system.
I understood that reference.
And I understood that one. This is getting very meta. Anyway. Yeah, so that's my world, Daniel. That's what's been going on this side. And it actually, we can riff on this in a bit later in the show, because I want to hear about your world and what's been going on first, I think. But the teaser that I will offer to that is, it has pulled me out of looking at multi-platform stuff. I've got a few ideas as to what that really looks like and what I should really be doing. So, anyway.
So no more comp for you this week?
Not this week, and probably not for a few more weeks. But
right, fair.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that later or on another show.
Last time I told you I was moving my servers, and I had already moved my servers, I think. And now they've just like basically they've been just humming along. They are so much more stable, and like I can just throw stuff at them. And worst case is they get slower, but they don't self-destruct like they used to.
That's cool.
The compaction process, which is like the self-cleanup process, like works now and has, as of now, compacted around 12-ish% of the data set, depending on how you count. if you count, like you can either count days or size. And I think by
Okay.
days it is way less, but by size already at 12%, because of course recent days are bigger than like
Mhm.
days from 2021.
Yep.
And so you already see the speed ups with the queries and stuff.
Brilliant.
And so yeah, the process has now reached mid-June or so. And so soon it'll reach the point where, like, the default right now in TelemetryDeck is it shows the last 30 days. And
Yep.
if that entire period will be compacted, then like it will be even like just all the queries in that period will be even faster. I'm so looking forward to that. So yeah, that's working and that's really good. And in the meantime, I just had basically a shower of stuff was just like that was just like held back before, like suddenly
Yep.
came just like down on me. Um, and so I just been dealing with like 100 like tiny things basically,
Yep.
which is a bit exhausting to be honest, because I way prefer like getting my hands dirty on like really one cool technical problem. But on the other
Mm-hmm.
hand, um, I was also able to reap the benefits of my work on delegating stuff.
Hey,
So,
awesome.
um, so it is still a bit rough because I don't know how to be like I used to think I know how to be a good boss, but that was always within the context of a larger organization. I still have to learn how to be a good boss in a tiny organization, but it's getting
Mm-hmm.
better. And I'm beginning to be able to delegate tasks to various minions, who would probably object to being called minions. But I mean, what are you going to do? Complain on your own podcasts. I know you have them. Um,
Ouch.
um, and like every now and then they get blocked because they need a review from me, or like I don't know, logins or whatever.
Yep.
But like because I'm very strongly trying to push everything into either Snack or GitHub, and like these are the two things where technical work is happening. Like mostly GitHub, but then for some discussions a bit of Slack. That's also easier to deal with, and I can like easier find out when people are blocked, and can then hop into a like code review or a quick call or whatever. And
Yep.
so yeah, that is it's been a chaotic week, but it's been very productive. And like yeah, all that work, it's it feels so chaotic, but still like everything that I've done in the last few months has had one of, let's say, three themes. And so after weeks of, hey, this feels very chaotic, suddenly like a pattern begins to emerge, because like even if I'm just taking small steps, it's still progress, and you can see that, and it's really cool and very satisfying.
I love that. I love that. And out of the chaoticness, as you described it, you've now got a process emerging of sorts. And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's cool.
and I wish the
Uh,
process was a bit more clear cut, but I think it just has to develop. I think I just have to, just like suffer through that, through that, because otherwise it's not going to work.
no, no, I'd agree. And I think, like I say, it's not just you who's building process, right? It's your team. It's the people your minions, as it were. Thank you, Gru. Um,
Minions! Tonight
minions,
we steal the moon! My nieces
and
are super
replace.
into Minions 4 now.
Oh yes, I saw the advert for that in the cinema the other day. But no, it's. I was going to say it's not just you developing this process; it's your minions as well. It's your people. It's
Oh,
everybody
totally.
involved. So it's all a bit of a dance. But the key thing, I think, to pull from what you've said, is that you've established these clear lines of communication. Right? Slack is for X, Y, and Z. GitHub is for you know X, Y, Z, and double A or whatever. And yeah, like that means that you are then able to compartmentalize a bit better, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And it also helps them in the same regard, right? There's a place for this. So I think it's really good. And I can see that, I suspect anyway, that your lines of communication, your delegation, the rhythm, as it were, in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months time, or
It's
whatever it
building
is.
up, and I can already see
Yeah.
like they are getting faster and more like they're just like really picking up speed. Like these are
Yeah.
incredibly like they are professionals who are incredibly good at what they're doing,
Yep.
and oh, it's so nice. To, like I'm not I'm behind with the pull request reviews because I'm like, oh, I gotta review. Oh, I gotta review this one as well. And
Oh,
I really appreciate it.
that's cool. That's cool. I
Yeah.
think the
I
the
also
the, the
I wrote it in the show notes. I wrote it in the show notes. I wrote into the show notes. I want to talk about delegation, but I typed delegation, and it says
yes.
delegatino.
Yes. And I spotted it as you typed it, actually, because of the way notes was updating in real time, which was great. I was like, oh yeah, delicatino. Delicatino.
Could be like a specific small cat, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, maybe so. uh Sorry, I looked to my side because I do have a small cat next to me in the office, but
Hello. Can I have the pizza delegatino, please? And no mozzarella.
meow, meow.
So yeah,
Oh,
that adventure is ongoing.
yep,
Tomorrow I'm gonna move the last bits that are still on the old hosting provider, which is the things that are going to remain containers, which is the ingest API and the query API and
yep.
the export runner and a few other like small containers.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow I'm gonna move those. So wish me luck.
Nice. Yeah, good luck
And
on
then I'm
that.
gonna
And
then I'm gonna switch the DNS, and then all hell will break loose.
yes, all hell will break loose, but only in certain regions at different points during the day, and eventually it becomes consistent.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
my
since
experience with DNS.
especially with the ingest API, like the old ingest API is already feeding into the new message queue, right? And so if
Yeah,
I host a copy of that under a new address, but then like just like switch the DNS from one to the other, then I think every signal that gets sent to me should either arrive at the old or the new one and like feed into the same message queue. So I
yep,
figure it should be fine, but
it should. But should is a load bearing word, so yes, we'll tread
it should is a
carefully.
load bearing. Yeah. So let's see.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're on the other side of this big move. I know it's been quite a big deal for you, and yeah, hopefully by this time next week when we're recording, you can say yes. Even the final bits have now moved, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And now I'm like in this in between period where there's just a little bit of like loosey goosey, like picking up the loose ends, and also like just like seeing a few, sanding off a few rough edges of the user interface every now and then, before it
mm-hmm.
gets onto the next item on the roadmap. And
Awesome.
next item is the pricing system needs just an overhaul, both in
Yep.
especially in how it just like how it is programmed, because it has been connecting dust for a while, and it's very much creaking. But also like pricing itself will get us a site update, and I'm like I gotta do it. And it's not even gonna like increase prices terribly or something, but
Yeah.
it just needs to be done. But then after that, I don't want to talk about it yet, but I'm so looking forward to that.
Okay. Well, I'll prod you about that certainly
Sure,
on future
sure.
shows.
Once it's getting a bit closer.
Yeah, yeah. But that's awesome. That's awesome. That means you like I say you're on the other side of what was a pretty big mountain. And I know on previous show, I think I described you as fossilized, crushed under the weight of so many tasks. Um, you're looking
Yeah,
a bit fresher now in that regard.
yeah, yeah.
um,
I mean, there's still like a huge ton of tasks, but I don't know.
yep, always is.
There's also like just like a feeling of accomplishment. And so yeah, that's pushing a lot. And the new office is helping too because it's very refreshing to work there.
Nice, yes. And we linked it all up in the show notes on the previous show, but it is looking very, very swish, very, how can I put it? Open is sort of the
Yeah.
vibe I get from it.
So
Open
someone
and
said
bright.
it's as if Johnny Ive designed a laser tag arena.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. After you recorded that time lapse that you sent to me going through, one thing that occurred to me, certainly like when it's in that state of being opened up that it is at the moment, so you don't have so many other folk in the rest of the space, it looked like it'd be great for drones. You know, like those racing drones where
Oh
people
yeah, I can totally
VR
see that.
through them. Yeah,
I have what amounts to a drone. I have a Sphero, which is a tiny robot in the form of a sphere that's kind of programmable. And I
Yep.
actually have the one that looks like BB-8, so it has a little head on top.
Yay.
And I haven't
Yep.
used that for ages and ages. But the other day I was like, oh, I need something to decorate the office. So I took it with me in the office. And I think I
Yep.
got to charge it up and just like run it around every now and then there.
Yeah, you can let people who come by play with it as well. So
It's just like we are, in fact, in one of the upper
yep.
balconies. So I got to carry it down first. I don't want it to just like fall to its death.
No.
Yeah. I want to talk about one other thing that I've been doing, which is I wrote it into our show notes as like very dramatic. Twitter is dead. I mean, Twitter has been dead for a while, right? Ever since the
Yes.
move to X or whatever. But what I mean is this: I've been talking to Lisa the other day about the fact that she was bummed out that it used to be I would post stuff on Twitter in my own voice and with my own kind of humor, and thousands of people would see it, react to it, share it, and then also just like get like turn their attention also to TelemetryDeck. And so that was a really cool channel for both meeting cool people and also meeting my audience. And there's of course a considerable overlap there. And like ever since the Exodus, yeah, it hasn't been the same. Like, and there's no direct replacement. Like,
no.
Threads is not as big. Like, I feel like there's no engagement there, to me at least.
Yeah.
Blue Sky is a nice little corner with really cute people, but like, there's not so many people on Blue Sky. Mastodon is really fun, and I like hanging out there, but reach wise it's not very good. Like I had a really actually I've got like a tiny bit viral just today with a post, but still it's like that is not ideal for reaching a large number of people. Reddit works a little bit, so I want to be a bit more on Reddit in the future.
Yep.
But and then Lisa was like, "Oh, would you consider like going back to Twitter and just like posting there, just like for like the company's sake? Because like I mean, we need to like get the word out.
Something
like,
to think
job,
about,
right?
something to try. Yeah."
And I was like, it feels like even if I push aside my moral obligations, it feels like something that wouldn't really yield much, like wouldn't move the needle, because I'm very convinced that the 10% of people who are still remaining on Twitter, like I probably love most of them, but or many of them, but I need something that's like that has as much reach as possible. So I was like, wait, actually, like I feel like the future of social media is the next big thing in social media is like short form video. If it's either it's TikTok or Reels or YouTube Shorts or whatever. And so I was like, and I said this, and then Lisa was like, "Oh yeah, well then just gotta do short form video then, Daniel.
Yeah,
How
just do
about
it.
them apples?" And my heart sank because I realized I've just like talked myself into a corner. But I started doing that. I reactivated the TelemetryDeck account on all the short form video platforms. I am familiarizing myself with CapCut.
Okay.
I
Yes.
am, and I'm just like I wrote down to like we opened up a shared document with like all kinds of like post ideas, and we're just gonna try it out basically. So
Yeah.
actually yesterday I managed to merge an unfinished pull request that kind of took down the query server for a short while. And so yeah, I just like took a video of me looking um dejected while it was kind of like rebuilding itself, because I was like, oh, I just like finished the server move and now everything is stable and now I just kick it over because I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that got reasonably decent reach, especially for an account with no followers yet.
Right.
And so today I was like, oh, hey, I wrote this nice post on Mastodon. I'm just gonna post a screenshot with like music behind, and that also was like, I got about the same amount of likes as I got on Mastodon, and I got like 1,500 followers on Mastodon, and
Mm-hmm.
no followers on that, or like 4 followers on that TikTok account. So yeah, I'm gonna continue experimenting with it.
Yep.
I feel like it might be fun once I get over the hump of being shy and
Oh,
feeling like I don't want to be perceived too much. But it's not
yeah.
the Daniel account; it's the TelemetryDeck account. So um,
I get
I
it.
can I want to try and find a mix between like just like fun stupid whimsy Daniel stuff, and also like just like every now and then I want to like try explaining things. And there's a specific format where like people on TikTok or other platforms explain things. It's where like they say a few sentences and then they pause the recording, and so that they don't fill everything with ums and ahs and like preparing the next thing that they want to show you for to show you, I think. And I think I'm gonna be so awkward doing that for the first 10-ish ones.
Maybe.
But I guess I gotta go through them. I just gotta like blast through those 10 awkward ones
Yeah.
to have like
So
20 slightly less awkward ones. You know?
you're making me think about quite a few things because I've had a similar journey actually in a few ways. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing the sort of short form video you're describing, but um, long time listeners of the show and anybody who's followed me as I moved from Twitter to Mastodon and kind of threw everything out in the process, right? I rejected all forms of big social media for probably about 18 months, nearly 2 years in a lot of ways, on
Mm-hmm.
the way out of Twitter. And some of that was just because I was so morally offended by the way
Right.
Twitter's demise under its current leadership happened. Yeah, and some of that was also solidarity with developers at Twitter and sort of feeling very annoyed about how good people got laid off in the process. There's a whole load of stuff for me that was tied up in just that mess. And then I want to say probably 6 months ago, I started experimenting with Instagram as I was
Mm-hmm.
developing the GoVJ3 update. Um, And a couple of things clicked that should have been obvious from the start, if I think about it, which is for a video app, posting videos to, certainly for an app for people who like making creative things with videos. Those
Right.
people are on Instagram. They're not on Mastodon. They weren't even on Twitter in the first place, right? They've been hanging out in Instagram. I guess some are on TikTok. I haven't really gone too far there yet myself. But what I found on Instagram was similar to what you're describing, is that it had that sort of return on my investment, if you like, in terms of people actually engaging, actually having a bit of a reply back to what I was posting. I've got a few people over there who are watching what I do now, because they're actually interested. Um, so I notice familiar accounts and faces now replying to me or liking stuff, which is lovely. I've even made a friend through it as well, which has been
Nice.
unexpected. But all of this is a long way of me sort of saying, yeah, I get it. Like there is almost no escaping these platforms. This is where a lot of people are, and you can sort of put any ethical thoughts about that to one side if you consider the fact that if that's where people are and you are not reaching them, there is an argument to say that you're limiting the reach of your product, but you're also limiting the amount of benefit your product can have. There is actually a sort of almost social good to finding people where they are, so they can then find something they're going to benefit from. I can certainly rationalize it, you know. But yeah, anyway, so if somebody is not interested in what you're putting out, they'll just tell the program that show me less of this, ignore this,
Right.
move on, right? I think the thing for me that I haven't done that I think you are doing now is I haven't explored all the platforms. So I've certainly not been putting everything that I post on Instagram onto TikTok, and I probably should. Like,
But
there's no reason
why?
not
I mean,
to.
like once you make the video, it's like trivial to like
Yeah,
I posted them manually,
yeah,
cross-posting them manually to YouTube
yeah.
and Instagram and TikTok. But like, I mean, there's even platforms to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes I find because I make the video up in Instagram that it feels less natural, right? I'm like, I put the text on in there. Now I've got to put the text on over in TikTok as well. And it's
Oh,
because
but
I'm not
like,
mastering it.
I don't know. I don't know about Instagram, but like what I usually do is like I can compose them inside TikTok or CapCut.
Mm-hmm.
And that means it exports when you post it, it auto exports the
Yeah.
whole video. And then it
You
adds
can.
like the 2-second TikTok thing at the end. So you cut that away and then you have a video to post on Insta as well.
I should do it that way around because on Instagram it kind of watermarks it with the Instagram thing in a
It
corner.
does that too on
Yeah.
TikTok, I think.
Right.
But I mean,
Okay.
who cares? Like half the
I know.
content on Instagram Reels has the TikTok watermark.
Yeah, true. Probably vice versa. There's a fair flow. But yeah, I should. I really should. And then to see like what is working. And the same for YouTube shorts and that sort of thing as well, right? Again, for the sake of an upload, you might as well. But yeah, I think it's it's interesting to me. It's interesting to see what works, what doesn't. I think it's a fair call to say what was maybe 3 years ago or so on Twitter just really isn't what it is now. Uh, I also find with Twitter, like when I have checked back into there, the activity that is going on there is incredibly self-referential as well. Like it's become very, one person posts something and it gets a bit of traction, but it's like it's traction within
Right, right.
almost a closed loop. It's not
Huh.
really
Yeah,
spinning out,
that
as
tracks.
it seems. Yeah. But the same's true for Mastodon, right? Is that it's small and so I think, yeah. Look, it's a lot of effort, but you could batch the videos as well. You could come up with a
Yeah,
few ideas of stuff listed out as a list of videos to make, and then make 2 or 3 at once, for example, and you've
yeah.
got that week's ones in the bag.
Yeah, like one format that we thought about was like just like criticizing or critiquing app onboarding and stuff like that, you know? Like just pick a
Mm-hmm.
popular app, do a screen recording and say like, hey, this is cool because this gets people into the app very quickly, or this is not as cool because it introduces friction.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that is very like close to the audience that we want to have. Or just like explain stuff about analytics, about data science, stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. And the one thing that could be fun is maybe like linking up with
Fun?
people. Yeah, fun is you could maybe link up with people to do a review of their analytics. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
was looking through earlier on in the show and sort of finding my way with my new app. Well, yeah, maybe there's a world where we actually that something like that becomes your content. Let's take a look
Oh
through.
yeah,
Let's
that could
find the
work.
friction in your flow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I have like with your consent, I could just like log into your account and
Mm-hmm.
then just like have a look, you know.
Oof. Oof. I mean, if that comes with a side note of any sort of like review or like, hey, dude, this is some drop off for you over here, then yeah, you've got my consent. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask again before I do anything like that. But
yeah.
like it would be, I would consider it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, this is the start of the journey, I think, and let's see where it goes, because it doesn't take a lot of time, but you need to feel the vibe, you know. I feel like especially on short form video, you can't fake it, or you can fake it. You totally can fake it, but you need to have a specific drive and energy and vibe, and if you don't have that, then it will fail, or people will be like, "Oh yeah, this is fake."
The thing I'm seeing in Instagram as well is like it's there's a lot of repetition. You know, people tend to pick a format, they pick a persona, they put out, you know, tons and tons of videos in that same vein. And then, you know, what that leads to quite naturally is like you see one and you're like, oh, cool, that was fun. And you go and click through their profile or whatever, and you end up like scrolling a whole load of similar stuff until you're bored, until you've had your fill.
That's enough slices.
Yes, enough tiny slices, scintillating slices, Daniel.
Scintillating slices.
Yeah. I think the question mark I will have is whether it drives the type of value to your business that you're after a point. I think that's something
only one way to find out.
Yeah. But seriously, like with it being effort and all the rest of it, there's a point where if you've given it a good go and it's not really giving you what you need, then you got to try something else, like, or whatever.
I just want to try it out, you know. And I think I also, because now we have a really good website. Like it's technically very good, but also the content is like really good, and there's like these landing pages and stuff like that. And especially speaking of delegation, I have now made it so that my coworkers, like Lisa and one other person, can just without me like doing anything, can just like edit and create new pages and like everything. And so that's really cool, because especially Lisa is doing so much work right now in like just like adding more pages and stuff like that. And so now we have a really cool website as well. So now I think it's time to drive people there. And so the TikToks is one thing, and then I think I want to be a bit on Reddit. I don't know if that's really if that will work well. But on the other hand, like last year we did a few Reddit ads, and they were actually they were working way better than any other ads that we posted, which is fun. So yeah, maybe that. Maybe post a few more Google ads as well. Now we have the landing pages for them, but let's see.
I think it's interesting because my marketing game has slacked in the last month, and I feel a similar need to sort of be like reviewing what I'm doing, making sure that I've got some idea of this sort of stuff. Like again, I've been posting stuff to Instagram as I've been developing, and that's been great. But then when I'm not in developing mode, in
public.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's any harm to that. But what's happened then is that my foot drops off the gas once it's released, and that's actually the worst time to do so. So I've
I feel you though.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to keep posting when you're building in public and there's something to talk about. You've sort of motivated me here, Daniel. I feel like I've got to go and make my own list of content, as it were, and then at least put it out.
Everything is content.
Content is king.
You gotta stay content.
Yes.
Or people will become contentious.
They will. But Daniel, I'm kind of feeling content full at this point in the show.
Yeah, me too.
Huh.
In that case, let's call it a day and night. A day and night. Ooh.
A day and night. Ooh. That's a show title, maybe.
Oh, I can't finish the show because you call this show. You wrote the wrong episode number into the show notes. But I've corrected it.
It's mutable data. Fix it.
It's mutable data.
Mutable data, mate, isn't it?
fantastic, to quote my favorite Doctor Who.
You taking
right.
the mic?
Anyway, listeners, thank you so much for listening. Please rate us on iTunes and YouTube, and or send us emails to contact@waitingforreview.com and join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. Dave, where can people find you on the internet so they can rave to your fantastic VJ videos and or other content?
I'm going to take my Instagram feed, which is lightbeamapps.com, spelled DOTCOM on the end. So it's all one word, and I will link that in the show notes to make anybody's life easier to just click and go and have a look. That's all I'm going to say this week. You can look at previous episodes for a whole bunch of other links, but how about yourself, Daniel?
Fantastic. Oh, well, in this case, go to TikTok and follow TelemetryDeck. Just one word, TelemetryDeck, and post orange hearts in my comments, because why not?
Awesome.
Don't post blue hearts, because apparently the alt-right in Germany has taken those over.
Yes, and this is, and honestly,
so post orange hearts.
Yeah, vibe check first, I think, was the note you said. So yes, that's anyway. Orange charts or orange hearts?
Both is actually very fitting, and I will be super happy to receive either.
Nice one. Thank you, Daniel. Well, Take care.
You too. Have a great day.
Bye-bye, Daniel.
Bye. You thought I wasn't going to do it.